And better late than never, we are here. It is the season 26 OG League podcast. I think I missed the first second, so better late than never. We are here. It is the OG League Fantasy Draft podcast. You may notice we are already deep into the season, so what we plan on doing is recapping our teams. We got four of the five. We did pretty good, 80%. That's a B. Um, Jabs couldn't make it, family issues, so we're going to speak on his behalf tonight about his roster. And what we'll do is we'll go in order like we usually do for the actual draft pod, but instead of making a pick, just kind of touch on one player that you want to spotlight based on how the season's going. Um, and I will go first. I am Hummus God. I did have the number one pick in this draft. I went with TJ. And overall, right now, I'm in third place in this group. So, which means in our federation, that means if I stay in third, I don't get relegated. The bottom two get relegated. So, fourth and fifth place move down to League Two, and first and second from League Two will move with us. My first pick was TJ, and looking at his stats, um, he's got a 1.4 WAR already, which is pretty nice around the All Star game. Not bad. 50% quality starts. ERA is really bad, 4.91. Whip is decent, 1.15. Strikeouts, 97, really damn good. So you kind of take the good with the bad with the TJ pick first overall, but can't really complain as I know I'm in third, and that's really what I'm shooting for. Not to win, but to stay and not get bumped down like a couple of folks on this podcast tonight. One is a ghost, um, Jabs and Skyfish. And we'll go second overall pick was 209 Tacos.
Why did you draft KJ?
He got mad at me because the TPE tracker was wrong, but
I
he
know.
throws gas. We were just talking about throwing gas. One of us IRL can throw some gas, but um, TJ throws gas in our league, and like I said, already at almost 100 strikeouts, triple digits. This halfway through the season, can't. I'm really happy with that. So even if his ERA is bad, how many wins? He's got only 3 wins, so he's not helping me in many categories, but giving me the strikeout help is huge.
Yeah,
Tacos, who'd you go first overall, and how do you
you
feel
look
about
you
where you're
lucked
at?
out though because that TPE bug it got like every league. Like he went top five in most drafts, which is
Listen,
just
Tacos, I know he was lower than what the TP tracker. That wasn't really my problem. It was like, okay, I knew he had a maxed out range shortstop coming in with BJ Foe, and I knew that they built around um, just defense in Nashville. Like they prioritize defense all around the whole roster. So the fact that he's a flame and he's that high TPE with a flame build, I just had this hunch like, okay, he's gonna throw hella strikeouts, and I need to throw hella strikeouts because I want to win that category. So yeah, like I said, not really helping me elsewhere. Hopefully, you can get that ERA down. That would be huge. Um, but Tacos, how are you doing? Because I know you were pretty confident in
I
the
was I
draft.
was very I was very confident, but
Where do you sit on the standings right now?
I
And
think I'm fourth right now,
yep,
and I'm very surprised about it. My first pick was Paulo Di Stefano Jr., who I assumed you were gonna take. And so when I saw you hadn't, I was like, okay, thank you.
yeah, you're creeping on me, which is scary because I had a much bigger lead before. But talk about one of your players. You took PDS Junior.
Yes.
Okay, so what about him?
A, a former
How's he doing?
MVP. I'm not really sure how he's doing.
I can tell you.
He's
You
doing
can tell
really
me.
good. Like second best in the league.
In the
Is
Champions
he?
Conference behind Beauregard.
Or yep.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, Poe posted the fantasy sheet. Look, you could tell we're very well prepped for this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Poe posted the fantasy sheet yesterday early in the morning, 12:16 a.m. Eastern, and looking at it now. But yeah, tacos. Who else? Like, think about somebody else besides PDS Junior that you feel could help you surpass me for third place.
Players that are on my team.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm looking at your roster.
So
See if
right
you can
now,
remember any of them.
right now, my dark horse is Stan Antonio, who I got in the 3rd or 4th round, and Stan has not had an amazing season, at least last I checked, which was like
No, not in the slightest, actually.
so. If
12
Stan
ribbies.
Antonio, if San Antonio gets hot, I'm just gonna ride the sloth train all the way and get you relegated, basically.
To put it in perspective, your best category is pitcher wins and ERA. So your pitchers are carrying you. Your batters are doing poorly overall. Also, to rehash what I meant about strikeouts, I'm number 1 in strikeouts. So I'm doing my job there. 3rd overall was Jabs. Jabs did give us things to say in his honor tonight.
Yep, he picked Alex Johnson there.
Talk about it, Mitch.
Yeah, so his write-up for Johnson is top TP, top of the TPE board. He was his former GM. Said ready to have a kick-ass season. So I mean, Alex Johnson. Let's take a look at his stats. I mean, he's put up really good numbers. A lot of wins, 6 wins. That's pretty good.
Yep.
Not quite Walker Cato status, but doing pretty good there. 71 Ks is decent. The ERA is holding him a little bit back at 4.1, and then a 2.5 WHIP is pretty average, I'd say. So maybe probably a little bit of a reach looking back at it, but I mean, I can understand the reasoning, especially with the TP and all that.
Yeah, no, it's a pretty solid first overall pick. First pick for your team. WHIP 1.2 is pretty good. 6 wins, that's huge. That's absolutely massive at this point in the season. The most on Jabs' team, most wins for a pitcher on Jabs' roster. So 4th overall. Who was 4th overall?
That was me.
Mitch, you are in first again.
I am. And
what about your team? Tell me, why are you in first?
Well, it's not due to my first round draft pick. It's actually due to my second round draft pick, which is Beauregard. It's my 2nd year in a row having him. And last year I somehow nabbed him in the last round. I knew he definitely wouldn't fall that far this time.
Right.
But I really didn't think he would fall to me with my 2nd round pick. So, yeah, I mean, he's just been tremendous. He's probably going to lead the league in steals and maybe even on-base percentage and slugging. Going to lead it in runs. He'll be up there in RBIs, so all 5 categories. He's just like, kind of nuts in.
You're dominating the batting side of the house in our group.
Yep. Leading every category but RBIs.
Your pitching is holding you back from being one of the best teams in the whole global standings.
Yep, which is kind of opposite of last year. Because last year, I actually led every category in pitching.
Yeah, none of us are in the top 10 in the whole world, PBE world. But yeah, your batting is amazing. If your pitching was just a little better, you could have gunned for top. 38's good though. 38 puts you. 42 is number 10, so you're 4 points back of.
Yeah, I'm probably like top
10.
25 or so.
Oh,
my batter's drafting strategy was draft NOLA hitters. I'm pretty happy with how I did that. But yeah, I mean, with my first round pick, I took Molly Mitchell, which, to be honest, was probably a bit of a reach. Although I did it last year, so I kind of thought, hey, I took Molly Mitchell first round last year. Why not again this year?
Right.
Molly's got a lot going for flamethrower pitcher, like you said. Super useful in PBE. Being and pitching in the best defensive park in the league is, also a really good thing. And then you also get to pitch in Indy, which is also a pretty high pitcher's park. Although I think Providence now is like really up there as well.
As a defensive park?
Yeah.
Mm.
It was like the main three. To be honest, Molly's done good, but does not warrant a first round draft pick. They do have 93 Ks, which is awesome. And like you, that's actually a stat I really aim to win at. So it's going to be interesting to see between you and me who takes it in the end. It looks like you're up by 13 right now.
Yeah, I drafted with strikeouts in mind for like the first time ever. I just go BPA for pitchers,
yeah.
but for whatever reason I'm thinking strikeouts. And
I
we're
always
1 and
draft
2 right now.
strikeouts.
We're 1 and 2
always.
right now. Skyfish is third. But speaking of Skyfish, you were 5th overall pick,
Yes, sir.
and you're in last place. So tell me why you
Dead
are.
last.
Tell me why you're in last. Yeah.
Because
What
I
happened?
have severely underestimated my opponents this year. And
You do have some bright spots, though. Talk about those if you know about them.
yeah, I have one bright spot on this whole team pretty much, and that is good old Tristan Luang.
Yeah, who is having a really good season strikeouts wise, and whip is one of the lowest I could see on the
Yeah.
screen. But that ERA is higher than what I'm used to seeing from Tristan.
Yeah, his ERA isn't great. And he's
hopefully we can get that down. I need to see that go down
Hopefully
because
that
I'm
goes
his
down.
teammate.
Yeah. But I thought, you know what, man? We need saves. I need a good team. The team that I like the most this year is probably Sarasota. So we're gonna go get him. Unless I'm an idiot. I don't know.
Yeah, no, Ace. You
Right?
got players having good seasons. Like,
Yeah. I have guys having good seasons, except for none of them are having
great.
good season, like crazy seasons that are gonna
Right.
boost me up. I
They're
just
all
have
solid.
I have a bunch of guys that you would build a team around, but none of them are doing good enough to do it by themselves. And
Yeah.
just as a combined effort.
Your highest slugging percentage player is 440. That's the lowest highest
Yeah, my
out of
slugging's
anyone.
not great.
And that is Cade Munson, who's hitting 440 slugging.
Yeah, he's my best hitter on this team
Your
by far.
OBPs are solid, Skyfish. You're
Yeah.
number 2 in the group in
I'm
OBP.
just playing Moneyball, man. That's all I'm doing.
Well, if you're
I'm
playing
just- I'm
Moneyball,
just-
your slugging would be a little higher.
I don't know, man. Just got to get on base, bud.
OPS. Yeah. Your OPSs are all solid.
I'm
But your
playing
OBPs are
original
really good.
Moneyball, where I have a decent amount of runs, not great, last in the league, but I get on base, which makes no sense at all. I have like some of the best dudes in on base, and they just don't score. Like I said, I just severely underestimated the people I was going against. I didn't think about any of the things you guys thought of. I just said, this guy, he's good, he's mine. That was a terrible idea.
So I'm looking at all of our groups, and run score, the number 1 player in the entire fantasy group is Tom Shu, owned by Jabs.
Yeah, you fell to Jabs in the second round, I remember. That was pretty surprising.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like
considering the year he put up the year before too.
Yeah, number 1 in RBI is Tom Shu. Number 2, I could see an RBI in the whole group. It looks like Haywood Dinkle.
Beauregard has 54 runs.
Oh, I'm looking at RBIs.
Oh, RBI.
I said runs, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah. Number 1 in runs though is Beauregard, and number 1 in RBIs is Tom Shu.
Tom Shu. Dude, Tom Shu's just having a killer.
But Dinkle's second. His run scored are just kind of low compared to a Beauregard who's at 54. Dinkel's got 39. Man, Beauregard. Wow. Tacos, who's a player that is not doing as well as you want them to?
San Antonio.
Dang.
Bobby
That's crazy
Daring.
that the
Bobby
MVP
Daring is
is that
terrible.
your player for you.
Huh?
Bobby Daring?
Yeah.
What about him? You don't think his stats are good? 3A is good?
Yeah.
The whip's a little high. Highest
Walks
on
are
your
high.
whole team.
Walks are too high for me. I haven't looked at it since the Tuesday.
Walks don't count for fantasy though.
I know,
that's
but in general,
Yeah.
whip.
Yeah. Your wins are good though. What? Better than my TJ, and I think you got him super late. No, the strikeouts are obviously much lower because he's a junker.
Tacos has Ricky Vaughn, who I'm like kicking myself for not drafting. I ended up
ERA
taking
and strikeouts through the roof, and the whip.
yeah,
LBG got him with the last pick in his group.
Yeah, that was a really good pick. I ended up taking Aiden McDougal with my second starting pitcher pick, and that was before you picked Ricky Vaughn. And I remember like right after I took it, I was like, oh, I should have chose Ricky. And
Well, you do have McDougal. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, McDougal was off to a great start. I was super excited, and then
he had like a 9-run outing.
Yeah, it was nuts, and his ERA is through the roof now.
5.7.
The whip's high. He's getting wins, which that's
1.4.
like the reason I drafted him was the wins and strikeouts.
His ERA is lower than TJ's, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's
pretty high. I remember it was like one of the last games of the pre-All-Star sim, right, on Saturday?
Yep. And it was because I guess like the game before they used like their whole bullpen, so pretty much what I'm guessing is what happened is the AI kind of was just like, well, we don't have a bullpen. Just eat it, kid.
And that begs an interesting question, because I'm pretty sure where you can manually just click it, unclick it, to the point where like you can have different rules for regular season and playoffs. You know how hockey has shootout in regular season, but like forever overtime in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder, what if we did the start on second base rule just for regular season, and then take away that rule for the playoffs, just for the sake of like, I mean, they kind of got like McDougal and the whole Rougarou got lucky that we're at the All-Star break and they get a break, and so they get to recover their stamina. But
yeah,
I think
and they're going to run away with
the beginning of the season. That would be crazy. That'd be really crazy to recover from. And yeah, I just think some of these long games in regular season really
it was kind of weird how it all worked out, and kind of like what you said, that and it sucked because McDougal, I don't know what happened or why this happened, but McDougal ended up starting the game before, had a horrible outing, gave up 8 earned runs and an inning and a third. Then they pitched the next day in relief, like what you said.
In that long game?
In that long game, the 23-2 game. And I mean, all the starters for Nola threw, but man, that's just rough when you're giving up 17 earned runs in 4 innings.
Because the game before was a long, like it
was long the game before. So the first game, the one that McDougal started, they ended up using 6 pitchers, and then he throws the next game, and they ended up throwing 8 pitchers, all the guys on the staff. So McDougal was literally the last guy.
I'm looking at it, and it's literally the last game before the All-Star break.
Yep. Just
the Crabs broke the Rougarou, and that puts them right back at 500. I'm sure the rest of the Legends Conference is not happy with the fact that the Rougarou completely let the whole Crabs roster buff their stats and get their confidence up. Hardin Long went 4 for 5, 4 runs scored by himself. That's so rare when you see that many runs scored.
Yeah, the
Oh,
funny
and
thing is,
Camden had 5.
funny thing is, like, because of how big those wins are, or those wins were, Providence's like Pythag record is like
Messed up.
4 wins above what it actually is, and it's definitely because of those games too. Whereas it's the complete opposite for NOLA, where they're supposedly like overperforming by 3 wins, just because of those massive blowouts, which is kind of funny to me.
Yeah. This is crazy. So, Eldorian asked, has there ever been another game in PB history besides this one where every single pitcher on the staff checked in at some point?
Yeah, I can't imagine so.
I've never seen it. In a non-spring training game, I've never seen it. This is one of the craziest box scores I've ever seen.
Yeah,
It ruined the whole staff.
I really
Got
I
dinged
really
up
wish.
besides Nakamura.
Yeah, I really wish that McDougal would have just been taken out and they would have just thrown a position guy. But that's
That
what
would never
happens when
happen.
you only have 9 position guys. Is you cannot do that.
Oh, you literally can't
You literally cannot do that. So
because there's no one on the bench. Yeah.
yep,
Wow. Or they should have just kept Mazeroski in way longer.
they should have, but the AI gonna AI.
How are they only in for like 1 out? How was 43 only in for 1 out? Oh, because he gave up 4 runs and
Yeah,
that's probably why. But like you know you lost the game, so you might as well just keep him out there. Yeah, it sucks for his stats to keep him out there. And Van's gonna kill me for thinking that should have been the move, but
yeah,
he pretty much thinks his season's over. I'm like, dude, like you got half the season left.
yeah, he'll be all right. I mean, I think the ERA will probably drop to like 4.7 or so when it's all said and done. So I mean, there's definitely permanent damage done there. But like, he's gonna keep racking up wins. He's gonna keep racking up strikeouts.
Yeah, that's all I got TJ for right now.
It'll
Unfortunately, I'm in a similar boat.
I mean, the Rougarous are gonna win 70 plus games this year. So naturally,
Yo,
they'll
Philly fan walked
drop it.
4 times. A magician. Most walks on the whole game out of anybody in between both teams. The magician's kind of a weird arc, bro, because Junie Panda is our highest batting average player, and he's an 100 range magician.
Yeah. Yeah,
But his defense is he has a negative zone rating.
yeah, zone rating can be kind of fluky sometimes. It'll even out when it's all said and done, but small sample size can be rough
Yeah, it can be
on
rough on.
ZR.
Yeah, because defense is just random in general.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and then shifts can work against guys and all that jazz.
yeah. If you're constantly shifting, then you're not getting the ball.
Yep.
Hmm.
In fact, I'm almost positive that like because the league shifts so much, as it should, that it'll more than likely negatively affect ZR. Because there'll be like those hits that should have been like routine ground balls that the game will count as like routine, but like was not made, which is tough.
Yeah, because of the spot where it was at, yeah. And like where they're standing, they're all there. Like you don't have to really move for the shift.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole point of it. Yeah, he's hitting 285. And that's pretty good for this league, like overall. OBP of 366, that's higher than Skyfish's. A lot of players. He's got a higher. Jabs picking up Danny B was interesting because he's defensive focused too. Stolen bases are good though, 24. Mitch, you haven't talked about all your batters because you only talked about one. There's one that I've been looking at that's also helping you be the best batting team in our group, just at the plate, not on the bases.
Yeah, that'd be Valor.
Yeah.
who I believe I didn't take until like the 4th round or so. Pretty surprised that he was still there. I felt
well,
like
you
I
did that
had to
both
take him.
drafts.
Yeah,
Late steals.
I feel like I had to take him. Nola's. I don't know if you guys. I kind of studied the park factors, obviously,
Of course.
and Nola's park factor is so favorable for lefties. That's why they're basically entire left lineup is lefties.
Mhm.
And Valor is, I believe, in his like peak year or like the year before his peak year, with big man on campus. So when the stars align, you just got to go with it. He's got Beauregard and Paulo Di Stefano Jr. hitting in front of him, so he's gonna naturally hit a lot of RBIs as well. Surprised he actually stole a bag. I don't know how that happened, but hey, I'll take it.
Stole one. The big guy.
Yep. That definitely has helped as a whole. Not quite as much as Beauregard, because Beauregard's beating him in every single category besides RBIs for now.
Yeah,
But
Valor would be the best overall batting contributor to their fantasy team on like pretty much any other team besides
yeah,
yours.
yeah, no doubt, no doubt. So pretty
I
happy
think
with
Dinkle can give him a
taking.
run for his money, but Valor's got a higher slugging and OBP and run scored. So yeah, Valor's definitely overall second best bat, and you have the number 1 bat and now the number 2 bat.
Yep. Although I'd probably say Shu Shu might be better because Shu's slugging percentage is
Oh wow, I just
708,
noticed.
which is the league leading one, and by a pretty wide margin.
And he's leading in RBI as well.
Yeah.
So RBI and slugging. Now you're destroying him with both players on OBP though. Well, not destroying with Valor, but Beauregard's got a much higher OBP.
Yeah, and that kind of goes with the build naturally. But I mean, Shu just hitting gap shots like none other. That's why gap. I will stand by this is so underrated.
Yes, we were just talking about that.
It's so underrated.
I don't know. I think it just honestly comes down to like variances. And so when everyone says, "Hey, go low on gap," and then you have like one of the few players with like a really high gap rating,
Yep.
I think the sim will reward you for that.
No doubt, no doubt. Well, and
Just
I
because of the
think,
variance.
and I think, and I will die on this hill. I think people, hitters, I should say, over invest in power. Like I know that it affects contact, which is what makes it so good. But like
yeah.
I think people think it's better than what it is per se.
I don't know. I remember when it wasn't for this OTP, it was for our last one that we used for the sim.
Yeah, that's why I think
But we had that equation that gave us what we should put. Like, it told us how important each thing is, and power was the second most behind contact.
Yeah, no. It certainly is. I'm not saying it's not important, and
I
I'm
think they
still
fixed the sim though. I think
I
21 has been so different in that regard. I think
yeah.
that
Well,
the test
here's the thing in our league that makes me say power is overrated is we can have these big men on campus who have 100 power, but only end up hitting like 22 home runs, which is good, but like you have streaks that are gonna hit 20 home runs.
right, plenty of them.
So I mean, it's since our league has so many people invested in power that naturally will actually lower the value of it, and just kind of like what you touched on earlier, since so many people like kind of just poo-poo gap, it's going to naturally make it slightly more like better than what it should be in a vacuum, I should say.
Yeah. Sabor is not a big man on campus, right? Sabor is
Um,
like a defensive player.
let me
Oh
take a
no,
look.
she's a first base. So yeah, it looks like she's big man on campus. I'm looking at the top 5 home run hitters so far in the Legends League.
Yeah, I mean they're gonna be the 100s for sure. But my I guess my main point is that they don't lead the like streaks and the cannons by like that much.
No, they don't. You're right, because John Camden is 4th best so far with a power rating at 91
Yep.
in a defensive ballpark, right? Or maybe they buff home runs and just low average.
Camden is that the Crabs?
Yeah, outfielder fast. So
Yeah,
a fast
Crabs.
play.
Crabs definitely. I remember where. I don't have this file pulled up, but I know for a fact they're like a Pitcher Park now.
Mhm. Did anybody draft Ray's Funk? No, right?
I don't think so.
I feel so stupid. He may be having the best season ever. Like, not even exaggerating at all.
Baron Beauregard.
Yeah, even better than Beauregard. Undefeated, 11 wins, most in the league.
Oh, pitcher. Duh, duh, duh.
Yeah. But I'm saying this overall is like he can win MVP.
Oh wow, he's 11-0. Yeah, .82 WHIP as a starter. Oof.
1.37 ERA as a starter. 1.37 ERA. I've never seen ERA that low this late in the season. I bet you run a
For a
sim right
starter.
now,
Yeah.
he'll break the record.
Yeah. That's
So yeah,
wow.
he
I
should be
didn't
getting MVP
realize
votes
that.
if he holds this the rest of the season for sure.
Which I think is pretty safe to say.
That he'd hold this. I mean,
Yeah.
they're stacked,
Yeah.
man.
I don't see how he gives it up.
I'm glad that I'm not in the Legends conference just for that team alone. Now we obviously have our own problems with the Rougarou though.
Yeah, Rougarous are so good.
Yeah. Everyone's literally fighting for second place. I think they can hop into the playoffs nice and confident because they're going to have a million wins and because their division is terrible. So 36 of their 108 games are against horrible teams.
Right. Well, their offense is just so good. They are scoring 6.2 runs per game, which the second highest is 5.6. So it may not sound a whole lot, but that's pretty drastic at this point.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. 832 OPS, next team is 758. 473 slugging, next team's 433. 273 average, next team is us. Hey, 255.
I mean, they're literally scoring almost like twice as many runs as Seattle and
They've struck
Cancun,
out the least
who are
as well.
both in their division.
Yeah. Well, this will be the worst that a division will ever be overall ever.
Yeah.
I think DVS is gonna
DVS
bounce back
selling.
next season.
DVS
Yeah, they're selling for now, but those players in their core, their young core, are gonna.
I do
beat
think it was
Max
the right move by PM doing that too.
Of course.
He read the pulse. He knows Nola's in their championship window for this year, next year, probably the year after.
For a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. God, 132 stolen bases. The next highest overall is OBX with 107.
Yep.
I'm not in the Legends Conference. I would love to see OBX in the World Series. I think they're long overdue.
Yeah. I wish CK could have got it done.
Yeah. Skyfish, who's a player that is a bright spot for batting? Like who are you trying to ride right now? Maybe they can even do a little better.
A dude that I think could be doing a little better is my first overall pick in Brandon Fry. I was hoping for a little bit of catcher magic, and I had it for about a month, but then he just kind of died out after we got out of May.
Yeah, a lot of people around the league been talking about how he's slumping too hard, and it's like low key unfair.
Yeah, he's slumping pretty hard on me, and it's screwing me a little bit.
Because he's in his peak, right? He's a max earner.
Yeah, he's peaked right now. He's one of the top TPEs in the league, I think. He was when I drafted him.
The sim is cruel, and that's why, like, I hope
cruel.
when people see that they don't retire. If you look at Chris King's career, he didn't make his first All-Star game till he was deep in regression. Johnny times 2 won Silver Slugger. Granted, it's DH, so it's imagine he basically just regressed defense.
Isn't Toby McMuffin like one of like the most all-time unluckiest players too?
Yes and no.
If
He
I
has the
remember
most home
correctly.
runs ever for a right fielder, but that's only because he's the only player to only play right field and play at that level. Paul DiStefano Sr. played, but he bounced around a bunch of different positions, so he's like the only true right fielder. And Toby, now you can probably say the only elite career right fielder in PBE history.
Yeah.
Like literally never played a position other than right field. There was a time where I really wanted him at third base solely just for his arm, because our third baseman was 300 TPE IA. And I'm a ground ball pitcher, and did not like that at all. It ruined my BABIP. It destroyed my BABIP. So, yeah, I was like, I'm a junker. I know this is not what he wants, but hey, what about moving Toby McMuffin to third? I don't think he knows this either, that like I brought this up. But yeah, unlucky, yes, to an extent, but he had seasons where he was sweeping Silver Slugger and Gold Glove. So
Yeah, I just remember that Dub City posted that like one article where it's like the most unluckiest people in the sim, and that Toby was like one of the ones at the top.
One of my most controversial opinions, probably the most controversial opinion I have, is that I think the league has an ultimatum to be living with. I think the league has two options: either ban hand switches after like your minor league season, like before you go pro, or like before the major league draft, or go all neutral parks all around the league 100%.
See, I'm against the neutral parks. I do like the first idea, and I'd probably even take that a step further. I think we should make switch hitting cost TPE. I think that'd be a cool little concept. Not much, but something like 30 TPE would be enough
I like that. Yeah,
but doesn't the
cool.
sim disrespect switch hitters or no?
Only because pitchers.
So isn't there already a built-in TPE purchase you have to make? It's just the sim screwing you?
It's more because here's my thoughts. It's more because pitchers know the meta is that they're gonna face opposite-handed hitters more often. In fact, it used to be where lefties would overwhelmingly face righties versus the other way. Now it's actually the opposite, where like if you look at stats, righty pitchers face lefty hitters way more than the opposite side, because more people are actually making left-handeds rather than switches at this point. Now there's still a really high amount of people that are switch hitters, obviously, but I think if like I said, I do like your idea to where once you're in the majors, you got to pick.
Yeah, you can only go from whatever hand you are to switch. Javi Baez is the reason why I say that. He's one of the few players who started off, I think, only righty to eventually being a switch hitter. But my problem is when someone becomes a right-handed batter and switches to left-handed batter overnight and then forgets how to be right-handed. And you could pay for switch.
I do agree with that. Yeah, maybe not TPE, maybe just money to be a switch hitter or something.
Yeah, that's what we already have.
I do think we should make some type of thing so that there's less switch hitters in the sim.
Yeah, and I don't know if it would lower switch hitting. It would just lower like being one side switching. So like my thing is that like you draft a player, they're a righty, you have a lefty park. You say, hey, we drafted you, we want to call you up, but can you buy a hand switch so you could be more optimized for our park because we play half our games here.
Right.
Um, and
Like
most
the
of the time they do.
slots, like NOLA, DVS.
Well, now New York too has a.
Yeah.
What if we did like a thing where you can't choose your own hand? Like we
Oh
have
no,
specific
that would
odds
never
for each
fly.
team.
I would take
You don't
away
think that would fly?
that would take away from the customization, which is like the
The
big
whole
benefit
point.
of the
Yeah,
league.
I get that, I guess.
Yeah, no, but like you want like because like for allowing arc switches, it's because somebody comes in the league and has no idea anything about OTP. Then they buy the game and they run their own test. They're like, wait a minute, I did not optimize my build, not even close. I didn't even know what I was doing when I first created. So I'm okay with arc switches. I'm not okay because like you don't need to know the sim to know what hand to be. It's just literally do you bat lefty or righty? Like
Yep.
it has nothing to do with like knowing like attribute ratings. So that's my controversial take. Either go straight neutrals across the league, which I think would be cool. I know it's not baseball, but neither is arc switching from like a, a big man on campus to a streak. Like you don't go from like not being able to steal bases to stealing 70 overnight. Um,
Yeah,
but
I'd probably be less. I'd be less for that one, because I do like how
yeah,
you can like customize your team's identity as a GM, to kind of add a slightly extra element of
I agree, and I think we
strategy in
should
there.
because of that. I think we should make it harder to mold your identity, your team into that identity. I think if you want to go
Yeah,
cheese, it's fine. There's teams like I think the Rays had the first ever like full lefty batting lineup for the first time ever.
yeah,
Um, a few years ago. Yeah, like I'm cool with that. Like I think that's cool too. But like I think it's kind of messed up
I do like
that
the idea,
you
like what
can
you
kind of
said.
just gather a bunch of people up and they could just all just
Yeah,
fall
if you're
into
high
your.
enough, high enough TP. Hey, go ahead and switch, buddy.
Yeah, and you got enough money to pay for it. It's kind of cheap and it's easy to make money in this league. So
Yep, that
yeah,
is true.
I don't know how in favor GMs would be. I kind of already am skeptical of that aspect.
I would support that for sure. I know
And
I'm just a
I
minor
think we should do a
GM, but
public referendum. I
yeah,
think we ask people, would you be okay with committing to a hand pretty much in your minor league season only?
I'd say if you wanted a good middle point, you would say you have to decide by at least the end of your first season in the majors, because
By then, that's over like a month and a half. By then, they're already like if you just give them
well,
my problem is that right
well,
there
the
is
the thing with that, and then the reason I say that is just because, although I do like your idea, I think people are going to want a middle ground. But
true. Yeah, because some
after,
people like the idea of switching. Yeah,
yeah, but
I see
like,
what you're saying. The
yeah,
ultimate
because
compromise, like okay, you can still do it, but we're completely severely restricting when you can do it. Because now you
exactly,
could do it whenever. You could do it as a 10th year pro.
yeah, and I say after the first year because like let's say you did get drafted by a team like NOLA who's super left-handed heavy,
Mhm.
um, like you're gonna naturally want to kind of help your player out if you're right-handed in that ballpark and switch to lefty. But then you're gonna also have to consider, all right, at this point, I'm kind of like committing myself to playing in the lefty ballpark for the rest of my career. Um,
Yeah, I can't back out of this now.
yeah, which you haven't signed a contract extension at that point because you'll still have your like rookie contract. Um, so like it's like one of those things you can do, but keep this in mind type deal.
Yeah, and that's
And I
still,
think I think in a perfect world, your idea is actually better. I just
but it's just,
think
you don't think a lot of people would agree because
I
it's
think
just so different.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
like I said, you put up your original idea. I'm all for it, and I will 100% support that. Just having that backup like contingency plan is also a good idea too.
I think I like cutting it off at the majors draft because it kind of lets all the drafting GMs put them on a clean slate. Like, okay, like
Or
I
okay,
gotta get my lefties, like and then that creates a whole new strategy for GMs. Like,
yeah, it does. It does.
if you got picks before, let's say New Orleans has a late pick, if the other GMs can kind of scheme it to where like they almost are forced to not be able to even get a lefty, like kind of
Y-
snag them all, at least a top earning one.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
that creates a whole new storyline that we've never had before. It's like draft night. Like, are they going to get a lefty? Are they not? Like,
Yeah, I actually like that, and you should post that in your referendum as well.
I think I'm going to run
I,
a separate poll on just this topic. Sometimes I'll do that. Like we did it about cursing. Remember that was a very infamous one. Cursing
yeah,
in Twitch chat. Do you want to curse in Twitch chat? I did that for one when I first got in this position. I put a lot of polls up, like in the beginning.
I do. I
Can't
do like
remember.
that by the majors draft. Yeah, that's kind of cool.
Like cut off for when the offline draft starts.
Yep.
So the league knows when the offline draft starts. They just don't know anything about the offline draft, which makes it very stressful for us in head office. Because like everyone talks and you're worried that people are going to find out where they got picked before it goes on stream. Tacos.
Yo.
Willie Colon.
Mm-hmm.
What round did you get him in? Do you
Second,
remember?
second round.
Second.
Yep.
So
Also,
he's
sorry, going back to your rule change, I just had another thing I wanted to clarify.
Mm.
You plan on keeping it even with pitchers too, right? Like same
Yeah, so
thing.
you wouldn't be able to change hands for a pitcher either.
Yeah.
Oh, of
Okay.
course. What?
Yeah,
It's way more unrealistic the fact that pitchers can do.
it is. Yeah, it's stupid. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you, tacos. Sorry.
That's all right.
No, well, I'm glad we agree on that, Mitch, and you played, so I feel like your voice should be a loud one, and that I'll be trying to help promote. But Tacos Cologne, he's doing okay, but the
Mhm.
slugging is where he's standing out. Where do you see him at for you right now?
I just need everybody to play better. Just period. Everybody's kind of down, except for pitching, I guess. But I don't know. I'm just kind of letting it play out, and we'll see if you and I get relegated.
Yeah, you're right there behind me. I think his OBP it could be better, 342. But overall, he's having a really good season. I saw people thanking him on Twitter for how he's doing, which is great. We have a lot of people playing fantasy, bro. How many groups? 37. Amazing. Times 5. Yeah, that's a lot. Let's see. I'm looking at Ace Carter. Ace Carter is an interesting player for me, not just because he's my
Yeah.
teammate, but last season Skyfish, he had the first half of the season, he had a negative WAR.
Hmm.
Then he ended up being top 3 in Silver Slugger in the conference at the end of the season. But where do you think he's at right now? How are you feeling?
Well, I remember this pick the most because this was my stolen bases pick.
Yep.
I went back to last year and thought, what were the things that got me into this year? Saves and holds and stolen bases.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought if I can get one guy that can rival two mediocre guys, then that's my guy, and that was my Ace Carter. And I wasn't really expecting anything from the actual hitting side from him. So he's doing better than I expected, but not as good as I wish that he could.
Mm.
If that makes
Why?
any sense.
What stat do you think is should be better than it is currently?
Well, no, I think that I think that it looks about right. Like
Mm.
263 with 89 contact, and that's just not great with 71 avoid Ks. But
Mm.
he's just, it's kind of weird because he has a pretty high slugging with really low gap.
I mean, because that's what we talked about. The whole league is low
Yeah.
gap.
That's true. It's just
Yeah. His slugging is pretty good, 434.
yeah, he's
I mean,
kind
it's
of
not
a
top
weird
shoe.
player with his stats.
37 stolen bases. That's the only one who has more is Beauregard.
Yeah, I know. And that's why I took him,
That's
like
really
I said,
good.
was for those stolen bases. Because I know that he's a top of the lineup guy who's going to get on base and then get to the next base. Which
Yeah,
is
you're
exactly
third
what I've
best in the
wanted from
league
him.
in stolen bases. I'm the worst, actually. Yeah, you're third best. You're right behind Tacos and Mitch. Mitch is number 1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not. I don't think I'm going to be losing that anytime soon either.
No, not at all.
I was hoping for more stolen bases out of Boozewell. Because he has some pretty good running stats, and he's just kind of mediocre.
I pretty
He
much
has-
punted on stolen bases to get the other stats. Like Slim is having a not a good season, but the slugging's good. Kuntz is having a great season slugging wise, as is Dinkle. Those are people that people were just talking about. Like that's the kind of thing with fantasy. I'm number 3 in slugging, which is good. That's why I'm top 3. But yeah, I just kind of listen for what people say. Like and I kind of like we have the luxury of having this server, and usually we're the first to draft, but this season we were not. So I don't know what you guys did, but I definitely was scoping around and seeing what the other groups were doing for the draft and kind of taking notes.
Yeah, I mean,
I
I
I
think
was doing that. Or
Tacos, you were?
I would jump into other teams' draft rooms and just see what they were doing. Actually, it was LBG getting Ricky Vaughn, where I was like, oh, I need to get Ricky Vaughn. That's when I forgot about when I noticed he was out there. So thanks LBG.
Yeah, he kept talking about it too when the draft was over. He's like, I don't know how the hell I got him with the 40th pick.
I'm with him. I don't know how
Yeah,
I did either.
He is being proven correct with his thinking. Where's he at? Let's see. How he's got one of the best pitchers, and he's in the last in his group by a lot. 10 points back
That's kind of weird.
of not 13 points of being promoted. What worries me about where I'm at in third is that Jose 43 is kind of having a down year, and he was supposed to be my like guy for rate stats and strikeouts.
Yeah.
I mean, you're still
but
doing really good in pitching as
his
a whole.
ERA, I need to get my ERA down. I think if he can get his ERA down to like maybe 3 by the end of the year, I think he pitches enough volume that he could work that down low, not raise Funk low, but or Slim Dugan low. My goodness. Yeah, has anyone noticed he's got a below 2 ERA?
Really?
As does Matty Paul.
I think the biggest player
I
that's
knew
holding you
Matty
back,
Paul did.
Hummus, is Herb.
Right now? Yeah, it's funny because when I drafted him, he was number 1 in RBI in the Legends Conference by a huge amount. And then it was just like after like one sim. But I'm like, I just want to see my name on top, even if it's just for a week. And I know he could play. Like I know Herb could play. Yeah, that OBP is really low, but the runs are competitive. You know, only 4 back of Slim, and he's got more RBI than Kuntz and Slim. So the other stats are really suffering. Slugging and OBP need to get much higher. That's like Tacos was a Stretch Armstrong.
Mm-hmm.
The OEP is good, decent, competitive, 302, but only 23 run score.
Tacos, I got a question for you.
Okay.
Did you purposefully miss out on saves and holds, and why?
Can I say yes and get away with that?
No.
I didn't even notice that I didn't draft a a reliever until
Oh,
I'd already picked my guy.
dang!
And
I did not
I
know
picked
that.
Bobby Daring with the last pick.
Yeah.
So
So Jab's actually said more stuff that we missed.
Yeah,
So Jab's also said
had
for
a
Tom
whole.
Shu. I heard people talking about Shu. He's going to be great. Seemed like a good bat. Hard Long, my current GM and fantasy podcast legend, ready for an amazing swan song. Slim Dugan, part of the one reason why he won the league last year or got promoted was because of Slim Dugan. Cletus McFlorida Man went back to back, taking the first two pitchers that brought me this title. Holding a fart was a panic move. And Danny B, I know defense isn't counted, but I want to grab my buddy. That's literally that thinking is why he's not why he might go back to league two.
Yep.
Like just the fact that he put that sketches me out. James Pleasance decided to really hit the relief pitcher strategy home.
Excited that I accidentally ignored that I accidentally called them peasants at first. Yeah,
Yeah.
Pleasance I felt like was a good pick. That was a pick that I was thinking about making, but I believe he was taken before Uni in the last round.
Yeah, Jab's not doing bad. If you're looking, he's number 1 in RBI. Number 2 in ERA, number 1 in saves and holds, he's number 2 in a lot of categories, just last and second to last in too many. Stolen bases, he's down there. Wins, he's second to last. Ks, he's dead last. That's what's holding him back. Oh wait, he's in second, right?
Jabs?
Yeah,
Uh,
that's right.
no.
It's
Hold on.
yeah, he's in second. I'm in third. So
Yeah.
Jabs is having a really good season. His team is really. I was like, wait a minute, his team looks
Travis is
stacked.
third.
Yep. He's got 33 points.
Tacos is in fourth. He's who's going to be relegated with me. For now.
perhaps.
No, I think I'm in a very good spot to be relegated. I think what Mitch was saying with Herb, I'm nervous about him.
Yeah.
They don't do Meta Cheese Park. He's kind of a infielder that has defense a little bit prioritized.
Oh,
and
yeah, because I
regression.
think Vandal's another pitcher friendly ish park.
Yeah. So that's why McMuffin always underperformed. Park factors, if you look at the Dub City article and cross tabulate with park factors for each player, it's pretty spot on. And
Yeah.
seeing like all the best overperformers based on TPE has park factor optimization. All the underperformers are underperforming due to park factors, pitcher parks, and for batters. And it's just like, yeah, I don't like that. Like, I don't, as a commissioner, I don't like that makes
Yeah.
things too predictable.
Yeah, I mean, it has a massive effect because what's the max again? Is it 1.2 or 1.25?
It's only 1.1. We tightened it up, but
Oh, it's
still,
1.1
any
now?
kind of variance,
I mean, that's still massive. Like, if you're looking at a
10%,
dude,
yeah,
yeah,
it is.
10% either way, you got a guy, let's say he's going to get 100 hits every year. If he's got it, plus 10% his side, that's 10 extra hits. You got 10 the other way. I mean, that's separation of 20. That's
Yep.
like 50 plus points in batting average
You
right
go
there.
from league leader to middle of the pack.
Like average, yeah.
Yeah.
Or like average to really bad, down bad.
Yeah. So maybe the answer instead of neutral parks is to tighten it up even more, 5% each way.
It could be. I still think your ideas that you had earlier is probably going to be the more friendly option with
Instead of
GMs.
tightening them up.
Yeah, because even like big league, actual big league parks, we'll see
Oh, of course.
pretty similar to 10% either way, and sometimes even more. So we're actually tighter than probably real life, I would say.
We are definitely. We've done the research on it.
So yeah, I would probably say without a doubt that I think that your proposal is like that good option that still gives customization for like dudes that start out as a lefty and they're like, I want to switch, but like switching lefty to righty is not cool.
Yeah, I just think it's. I mean, if we can
It's laughable.
help the parity out. I mean, I think that would just be great for league parity to not to restrict that. And talking to Maj, it's like, but he's like, but it's a simulation league with customization. Like you're taking away customization in a league that kind of prides itself on customization. We're not taking away customization. We're taking away lack of realism. Like
Yeah.
you could still build your own.
Yeah, you can still
player.
give customization without the completely unrealisticness. And I would even go for like if you start out as a switch, you can pick a side, but once you pick a side, you can't like
pick the other side ever for anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, at any point in your career.
Yeah.
I agree.
I would even maybe say that if you start out switch and then pick side, you have to stay that side or something.
Of course.
Because
Yeah.
you'll see that from guys in real life where they show up to whatever level they're at, college, high school, pro, as a switch hitter, and then naturally they're just better at one side, so they'll just be like, well, forget that other side.
Yeah, I'm not even going to worry about the other side. I'm committing to this side. Yeah, definitely. I don't doubt that happens a lot. It sounds legit. Like, tacos and Skyfish. What do you think about that rule idea?
I'm fine with it. It's a whatever thing for me. It is
You're a
gonna
pitcher.
feel. Yeah, I know. I have switched arm slots before. So, have you done that, Hummus?
I know because I'm lefty in real life, and as a kid I would throw a little gas. I throw my dad in the backyard. I always felt like I could throw. I was a quarterback too, like locally, like just like tackle no pads, like in our big friend group. So yeah, I couldn't be anything other than lefty. Like I literally couldn't. But you switched tacos?
Yeah, I was lefty, and
Wow.
when I was in San Antonio, Juosi was running some sort of tests, and she just randomly, I don't know how it came up, but she took Ryan Rose in her test, and she switched him from left to right. And the next season, he had that 7 war season, and I was like, I want to do that. So I switched from left to right. I think I'm still right at the moment.
No switchbacks, or we probably allow it. What a joke, but whatever.
Isn't there two? Isn't the limit two?
I don't know. I think it's just one
Is there
for
a limit
pitchers.
for pitchers?
I don't know off the top of my head.
I know
honest.
position changes, you get 2 as a pitcher, which is actually realistic. I would never take that away.
Yeah.
Because like you come in as a starter in the minors, reliever when you're a pro, and then back to starter.
Yep.
Yeah. So we allow 2. The meta, if you're a pitcher, you should always create as a reliever, but
That would kill the minors.
yeah,
Or not kill, but really hurt for sure.
I know.
I can tell you what I did because I created as a starter, and I'm kind of digging what we're doing. So I created as a starter for the minors, and then I stayed down there for an extra season. And now I've come up to Boise, and I'll be in their pen for 1 season. So instead of changing a reliever for those couple years, I can just stick as a starter, sacrifice 1 year kind of, and then come into the pen next year. And then when I finally want to come out of the rotation because I'm hitting regression, I'll still have that chance to switch back to reliever.
Yeah, I understand your logic, but I think the way I'm doing it's better.
Because you get 2. If you get 3 switches, then yeah. And maybe we should open it up for 3, just so we like I can create as a starter in the minors, Because pitchers do go through that crazy. I look
Yeah.
at like the Uranians of the world, like they switch so many times throughout their
Yeah.
career from focusing on pen to starter to pen to starter. That should honestly be limitless.
Yeah, it
Yeah. What
could
if you
be
don't limit it?
it could be limitless.
That's another. I kind of want to. I'm gonna bring that up in HO at some point. Hopefully this
Yeah.
week, and start a conversation and say, hey, what if we just made switching from starter to reliever limitless? It doesn't really create lack of parity. Like it's not cheesy to just change from starter to reliever build. Like it's
Yeah.
realistic. It's as hell.
I think it would help some people that create as starters, and like they do it because they want to throw more innings. But then obviously when you get pulled up to your, majors team, hardly anybody goes straight from the minors
Takahashi.
rotation to the majors. Like it happens, but it's so small. So more times than not, those guys end up in the bullpen and like do noticeably worse than like full-fledged reliever. And like that's why I made Bolanos the way he is. So
And I
maybe
didn't even
either
intend for that. I wanted to be a career reliever. I never intended on being a starter.
yeah.
Then I got third in starter pitcher of the year. That was really cool. Second in reliever of the year as my peak. But Takahashi was a career starter. Career WAR is negative 1.4. This is her fourth season. Yeah, that's gonna kill her career WAR. She's gonna basically be working against. It's like, yeah, her career WAR is gonna be negative 2.3 tacked on to whatever it would have been potentially.
Yep. And that sucks.
But it helps for experience. She's gotten noticeably better literally every single year without question.
Yeah. There is that.
The experience buff. Once she's like deep in her career and she keeps max earning, or the user keeps max earning, ERA 3.63. That's so good as a fourth year pro.
See, I could just like make that flip argument though. Whereas, like I said, I feel like what I'm doing with Bolanos is just better because I do eventually want to transition to the rotation. But like
That's
my
the Bentley
first
way.
my first year, I put up a negative WAR. But since then, I've been at least 1.5 every season, and I'll easily eclipse that this year. And I'm in my fourth season, the same as Takahashi in the big leagues.
Yeah. What's happening is that, yeah, just like I said, her career, like when she's deep in her career as a starter and you're also a starter, I think you're going to see a little bit of a, because like I compare myself to Daring, who's a career starter, never really pitched out of the pen, and he just did better. Like hopefully your player doesn't take that hit when they're a reliever. I mean, when they're a starter. Like I
Yeah.
had one really good year as a starter, 3 good years as a starter, but that's it. Like one elite, like top of the league. You could have I could have won pitcher of the year. Cato had the crazy stats, but I was the only top pitcher in the league that wasn't on a playoff team. And so like I didn't have like the support of a playoff defense, playoff offense, and still was putting up crazy numbers. But yeah, and that is the better way. But yeah, we need to figure out a way where anyone who knows that doesn't just go straight to reliever in the minors.
Mm-hmm. Because the way I'm gonna end up doing it is I'm starting out as a reliever. I'll switch to starter, and then obviously end my career as a reliever.
Yeah.
And hopefully rack up the most strikeouts of all time. I am on pace, but Matty Paul is also above pace actually right now when I looked yesterday to catch Greg Steiner.
Yeah, well, the Flame RP.
Yeah, Mike and a drastic hit. Yep. You probably know more than you obviously know more than all of us.
Well, we need a new balancing head. Faust kind of stepped down out of nowhere. He was, he let me know, I think middle of last season, and so this season, trying to get our feet under us with like all these changes, job turnover. I think we had like most job turnover ever in this league that I've ever seen by far this past offseason. So I was more concerned about filling the necessary jobs, like
Yeah.
all the GM turnover. All that's huge,
Yep. If I
minors
could,
and majors.
to be honest, I think if I could change one thing about flamethrower reliever, it wouldn't necessarily be like anything with the pitching itself. I think the fact that the 40 stamina makes it just a little bit too good. I think if you
Yeah,
lowered it, it does need to be higher than the other two because more strikeouts means more pitches, and higher velocity means more stamina used.
right. But I'm gonna give a rebuttal in a second.
Oh, but like, what I wanted to say is, I think that it should also be considered to where, if you want to have a strikeout pitcher, you're going to naturally throw a little bit less innings. Um, and like I said, I do think it should be higher than the other two, which are 30. I think 35 is like that good in between point to where it's higher, but you won't throw a crazy high amount of innings.
I can meet you there at 35, but I think they shouldn't get any stamina advantage. And I say that because some flame pitchers have their off speed as their like goaded pitch. And that's true in real life. Like some high velo pitchers, they're better with their off speed than their actual velo. Um, so it's not unrealistic. It's just like the stamina is just for those pitchers with the circle change as their number one pitch. they're
Yeah,
they're
they're able to
way
throw more.
overpowered because they're throwing way more off speed, which doesn't take as much energy. So I
Yeah.
think if you want to have the 100 velo, you should take the hit on stamina. And
Well, and
yeah,
you can
35. I think 35 would be cool. I think that would nerf them just enough to where a junker with an elite defense reliever would be on par. Because right now, I think the
yeah,
flame RPs are just way better
it is, and they throw noticeably more innings too. So like, here's my prime
because of the
example.
stamina.
Yep, it is because of the stamina. Um, so here's my prime example. It's actually the Supernovas Tristan. He's thrown 52 innings so far. He's a guy that his top pitch is a changeup, just like what you said. 41 stamina gives him 52 innings. A good team with a lot of chances for him to pitch. We'll go to another team that's good, which is the Voyagers, and their stopper is Whole Horse, who is a junk baller. So the exact opposite side. He's only thrown 45 innings so far, and just like Tristan, he's the sole stopper. So it's not like he's like competing for innings with another stopper on his team. I mean, he's their best option, and it's really not that close when you look at the rest of the pitchers on the Voyagers staff either, to be honest. Um, so the fact that he has less innings is kind of like LOL to me, and it shouldn't be that way. So
So okay. So yeah, I agree. I think whole horse is the future. And that's going to be something we want to look at when we get a new balancing head. I'm going to try to get a post up this week to get a new one.
yeah, let me
If
apply for that real fast.
yeah, if you like OTP and you like our ARC system and you've thought about ways to test, because basically what they do is you throw darts at ideas on what ratings to change, and then you see the results and
Right.
see the standard, all the deviations, and it worked out. Like the predictions for the batting worked out, in my opinion. Um,
Yeah, I think I'd love the change to handyman. I think having an arc that's really centered towards eye is really cool.
yeah,
Um,
we didn't have one before.
now, if I could only add one more, it'd be like one that's like favored towards gap. I think that'd be like cool. Like that gap hitter doesn't hit a whole lot of home runs, but hits a lot of gap shots or something.
Extra
It
base hits, yeah.
it probably like hardly get used, I'm sure, but I think because of that, it would be good. I don't know that. I know balancing is definitely tough, but
And introducing a whole new arc is tough too,
Yeah.
with testing. But maybe that's a project for the new balancing head. Introduce a new arc plus rework pitching.
I think that control pitchers need a buff for sure.
Yes, definitely. I think there's a way you could build it. Look at Walker Cato. He's a control pitcher.
hmm
You can make a control pitcher be really good. If you need a lot of help behind you, but that's the
For
same
sure.
as junk.
That's the same as junk. I think junk has too high of control. I think if you lower control on a junk, because it's at 85, right? I believe.
Yep.
If you lowered it to 80, so still better than flamethrower, that would actually buff control a little bit. The way how the sim works. That'd be my 2 cents.
That's interesting. I would love to see the results of that because that's my favorite part is like seeing the spreadsheet after and seeing all the stats.
Yeah, maybe that'll be part of my app.
It's like the ideas of what you would do to the.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, I think that's a good point to leave off on our future potential balancing head. I can work on getting this uploaded, but you guys have anything else you halfway through fantasy that you want to get off your chest?
Matty Paul is the GOAT.
Yes, sir, that he is.
I'm so glad
Boise.
I drafted him.
Boise legend, future Hall of
Boise
Famer.
legend.
Yep, no doubt.
Oh,
The person who's single-handedly gonna like craft my goddamn player.
You're just gonna message him and say you just talk to him
Oh,
about your
I've
build.
already talked with him about it. We
That's
had
awesome.
a whole like hour-long conversation on what to do with it.
Yeah, he's done super well with his player build.
Yeah.
And I kind of modeled Bolanos after him in many ways.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Tacos, one last parting shot to anybody?
Please don't relegate me. I don't want to go.
I've already
You made the
accepted
sticker
it.
for it. It's only fair that you have to get relegated.
That's true.
Yeah. I was hoping not to use that emoji, be the first victim of the emoji, but
Hey,
it's like that might happen.
At least you're not Bo Sox. He's about to be in League 4.
Yeah. What happened to Bo Sox? Like,
dude,
he's
he
been
just crashed.
years, like seasons after season, like in the top 2.
Yeah, he was dominating our league, and then we introduced Pro Rel, and then he free falled to the worst league. Yeah. Well, that's a fun note to go off on. Bo Sox, you stinky. And yeah, hope you have a good night. Thanks for listening, and good luck to
Night,
the
y'all.
rest of you guys this season. Hopefully, you don't get relegated.
Yeah, I like my chances.
I don't like mine.
Me either.